Alright, what's up? I'm back from Japan. I went for 2 weeks with my mom. This was my fourth trip to Japan and her first. It's someplace she's always wanted to go, and I'm so happy we were able to find an opportunity to make it work and for her to finally see the beautiful country of Nihon. As is kind of tradition, I'm going to go through all of my pictures from the trip and just kind of talk about stuff I did and stuff I ate and stuff I bought. Actually, stuff I bought will probably be a separate video, but I don't know. It's just kind of a good way to relive the trip sometime soon after it happened and kind of capture my thoughts and feelings about a lot of the experiences. Hopefully, this will be somewhat of a video memory for me that I can return to and return to the feelings I had right after coming back to Canada. Uh, Starting off, we got a lot of pictures, so we're just gonna power through probably a lot of them. This is just on the plane. There's this trivia game that me and my mom like to play whenever we fly somewhere together. The games in the little back of the headrest entertainment union, you might think like who would play those because they're kind of crappy flash game tier type games. But they're quite fun, and since you can't really use your phone to its same capacity, it's often kind of the most fun games you might have access to. And it's neat that it's multiplayer. I think that's like an actually really cool feature. You basically just hop into the active game. Here there was a whopping 8 players. You can see that some of them joined late. We kind of joined late. There's me and mom. And the trivia one is fun. It's just, fairly interesting, reasonable, Trivial Pursuit tier trivia questions. We played another game where it was just the two of us. I won that. It really is kind of a luck-based game, though, because the amount of points each question is worth is, like, random. So if you know a 5,000 point question, it matters so much more than knowing like 10 500 point questions, or I guess it means the exact amount, but it's totally skewed. So yeah, we played a few times. I won, my mom won, and then my mom won again. She won the best of three. Then we played some Yahtzee. Again, you can play a multiplayer. Yahtzee's pretty fun. I got whooped this game. My mom got double the score. This was actually like an insanely high Yahtzee score. Then I won, and then I won the tiebreakers. So I won that best of three in the game that's like purely luck. My mom beat me in the luck-based trivia game. This is the flight meal. This is a pretty blurry picture, but it was quite good. Just pork, rice. This was like a nice udon, or soba, sorry, with a nice light sauce and some corn. Welcome to Japan. Here we are after an excruciating 13-hour flight. I'm very tall. I'm about 6'6" or 198 centimeters, and I had a middle seat, which was yeah pretty painful. I was able to take some painkillers preemptively, and I didn't end up feeling all that sore, but pretty uncomfortable for the entire trip. I only got up once to go use the bathroom. Probably it would be in my best interest to stand up more, but I always feel awkward making a stranger get up and get out of the way on a plane. So I was pretty worn out after all that, but there's still all the airport adventures. Taking pictures, this sign. So both me and my mom have added photos to this album. So there's going to be a lot of like redundant shots, but we'll just kind of keep it moving. Big Nintendo section on the escalator. There's my mom. The gang's all here. We even got a Goomba stack. Welcome to Japan. There's my guy, the big Mario. Welcome us to Japan. We took the Skyliner from the airport to Ueno, where our first hotel was. So we got a few shots out of the Skyliner, or I guess just one shot. Looking at some solar panels on the side of the road, pretty cool. This is just kind of the area we were in Ueno. To the right is Ueno Park. Our hotel was like right there, which was really nice. Unfortunately, our window did not face the park, but we got to explore the park around there. Just some shots of Ueno. This was 6 p.m. local time, so I don't know, just nice time of day. Beautiful, beautiful weather. Aside from a few rainy days, we had really excellent weather. Here's our hotel. It was quite nice. Before this, there's probably going to be a lot of contrast between this trip and previous trips that I'll point out. A major one is accommodations. When I travel by myself or with friends, I typically opt for like the cheapest possible accommodations because I feel like that's money I can save for other stuff, food, souvenirs, dojinshi, whatever. So I slept in a lot of like capsule hotels and hostels. And this was really the first time that I spent significant nights in like hotel type hotels, and they were all pretty good. I think I just kind of assumed that anything anywhere cheap would be like tiny and cramped and miserable and not that much better than a capsule. But these we didn't really pay a whole lot, and they were pretty solid. There's a little TV. We watched some Japanese TV the first night we were in. I saw a horse racing channel, which was fun. Japan loves horse racing. We went out to the convenience store to just get a few snacks for the night. I saw a cat. My mom got this. She had seen... So my mom, in preparation of this trip, watched a lot of Instagram reels about Japan. It seems right now that the biggest trend in kind of like normie influencer media, your TikTok reels and Instagram reels and TikTok and YouTube shorts and stuff, is going to Japan and making travel vlogs, showing off stuff you eat, little touristy things you do. And this is, I think, one of the major factors driving this unprecedented boom of tourism into Japan, is just this kind of vicarious influencer cycle where everybody is going because of things they've seen other people do on these social media platforms, sharing them themselves, broadening that reach further and further and further. I suppose even I'm partaking in this in my own kind of niche, strange way. But my mom had seen some videos about Jumbo. It's like an ice cream waffle sandwich. Pari. It's nice and crispy on the outside. It kind of tastes like a ice cream cone. On the inside is just nice, fluffy vanilla ice cream with another bar of chocolate right in the middle. It's a banger. Taking a bite of it. These are the snacks I got. A couple rare Haichu premium flavors. I've never seen these in Canada. Yogurt and muscat. And then 2 rice balls, which I just ate dozens and dozens of through this trip. The convenience store rice balls are so good, so tasty, so filling, so hearty, so fresh, and so cheap. And it makes them really just like God's perfect food that is always available anywhere you go in Japan. You're never more than like a 5-minute walk to a convenience store. There is the sky tree we were able to see from our hotel window all the way out in Asakusa. It's very tall. I don't think it's as tall as the CN Tower, but it's up there. I think it's the tallest building in Japan now. Major tourist attraction. We didn't actually go. We went to another observation area that you'll see later. This is the next morning. We were still kind of suffering from jet lag, sleeping at kind of weird hours. But we got going pretty early that day. This is a cute manhole cover. This is this guy, an icon of like 70s countercultural comics and what have you. I associate it with Robert Crumb, but I don't think it's actually a Robert Crumb drawing. I don't really know where it comes from, but here he is. Pretty cool. This is the Ueno JR station. Has this cool mural. Another neat mural. So our goals today were to pick up our Suica cards, which are just a super handy way to pay for local trains and stuff within Japan. You can also use it to pay for drinks at vending machines or stuff at convenience stores if you want. So I knew we would have to get that ASAP. The sooner we get it, the sooner we can start saving time and, in some ways, money. Here we are waiting for the train. So we were off to the central train station to get that and to also pick up our Shinkansen tickets. We pre-booked tickets for the Shinkansen, which turned out to be kind of unnecessary, but I was sort of paranoid that we were going to end up stranded because they would sell out. And there was a way that we could get them such that they would just be waiting for us at the post office, which I had never heard of before. It was a service offered by Klook, which is like a third party that helps English speakers and foreigners book tickets for things in Japan. So it worked out great. We'll get to that eventually, I guess, but that was our other major goal that led us to the Tokyo Central Post Office. Waiting for the train, some shots of train stations. This is in Tokyo Station. It's really beautiful ceiling. We both took a picture of it. Stuff in and around the post office. This is maybe after we already went to the post office, but that all worked out great. We were able to pick up our Shinkansen tickets without trouble, get some stamps for some postcards later. Here we see Cooper's Gastro Pub with modern British foods. I took a picture of it because my boyfriend's dog name is Cooper. Shoutouts Cooper, I'll see you tomorrow. This was like a nice little secluded area where they had blocked the street from cars and doing kind of a pedestrian setup. This was an old kind of VW van type van that they had painted up and were selling like ice cream out of. Here you can see somebody else taking a picture of it. This was the Bank of India Tokyo branch headquarters, which I found just kind of surprising to randomly see. I like kind of reminders that outside of the first world, outside of the Western Eurocentric world, all of these other companies are wheeling and dealing and making major moves without us. It's just sort of encouraging to remember that not everything is processed in our context. So we decided we were pretty close to the Imperial Palace and that we might as well go check that out because it's a good opportunity and we didn't really have any other major plans. So we set out. This is a shot of the moat outside. This is a shot of kind of the outskirt buildings of the palace itself. You can see there's another major anti-besiegement wall here upon which all of this stuff is built. Real wide open space. I'm not really sure what this is used for, like if there's festivals here or anything. But fairly busy, fairly occupied, even on this kind of random day. Now, we showed up at the second half of Golden Week, and this was not my intention. I just didn't really remember Golden Week when I was planning the trip. So a lot of stuff was closed, and a lot of other things were busy. We made everything work, but I don't think it's really ideal to visit Japan during these kind of major holidays. And luckily, the vast majority of our trip did not overlap with anything like that. So all of this is to say, we got as far as here in going to the Imperial Palace, and then we found out it was closed because of Golden Week. So we didn't get to go. But we got to see around the outside, and that's pretty neat. This is a shot from the palace back out to kind of one of the main sectors of Tokyo. Just so many big buildings. But at the same time, like, Tokyo, much less than New York or even Toronto, I think, is just sort of like spammed with skyscrapers. You know, these are big buildings, but they're not actually unfathomably tall. Tokyo is just sort of like wide and low for the most part. Nice, cute little apple thing. These are markers alongside the path. This is like blue forest something. Try to figure out what these mean. This is Hokkaido. Okay, so I think they're all like regions of Japan. So this means Hokkaido. Another shot. Again, you can see there's just sort of a steady stream of people using the park to get from one place to the other. I imagine if the gardens were, or the palace was open, it would be even busier. Some interesting trees here. Real ancient treescaping on display. Some nice flowers. Then we were just kind of exploring around, looking for places to eat lunch and kind of relax a bit. We found this nice little intersection, sort of like a mini park within several buildings. All of these were kind of cafes or little fashion boutiques. Cute little mural on the side here of the fountain. Then we decided to do a bit of shopping. My mom and I both had to get new phones recently because our old phones broke, and we both got Pixel 8As. No, Pixel 8 normals. I don't think the Pixel 8A even exists yet, but whatever. We both got Pixel 8s. And I was very disappointed to learn it has followed the inexplicable and annoying modern phone trend of not actually having a headphone jack. So we decided to set out to find one of those USB-C to 9mm converters. Uh, and we went to Yoshida Camera because, you know, it's kind of an all-in-one electronics superstore. There's a few of these chains around Japan that basically have these gigantic 8-floor electronic stores that I feel like have pretty much anything you could want in that general category. They're just neat to explore around too. I just like them in general. This is a huge speaker section in one of them, and they were playing, I think, like Lonnie Andrews or something. Is that who I'm thinking of? Is that anyone's name? No, that's... Who? Is it Laurie? It wasn't... I don't think it was Laurie Anderson. Was it Laurie Anderson? Shoot, they were playing someone that my mom is a big fan of, and she was like, wow, I'm surprised they're playing this here. But I can't remember who it is. Maybe it is Laurie Anderson. At any rate, lots of very cool speakers. But what it turned out is, like, even though the store is fairly general purpose, and you can get, you know, cell phone accessories and all sorts of other kind of consumer grade stuff, the audio section skewed much more audiophile-esque. And when I asked about the USB to 9mm converter, I was taken to like a cell phone DAC area where they had ones by like Campfire Audio and like what's that company? I used to have one of their DACs. Just, you know, audiophile companies. You know, for people that want really high quality audio coming out of their phone, and they're all expensive. And I asked, Moto yasui ga arimasu ka? And they're like, no. So that was a disappointment. Definitely skewed not the right way. Here we have this waving little rhino man because the thing is a little screwed up, frantically waving for us to come play pachinko, I think. Then we were kind of around the Ginza area as we meandered south from Tokyo, so we decided to go to the Sanrio store in Ginza, which is one of the largest ones, Sanrio World. Here are our friends My Melody and Hello Kitty, the two major titans of Sanrio today. Wait, that's not My Melody. Is this Cinema Roll? Because this is My Melody. Yeah, this is Cinema Roll. Alright, whatever. Yeah, My Melody and Kitty-chan. The two titans. There's me and Hello Kitty. So we went up, we were shopping around. I took a picture of this because a friend of mine is a huge Pochiko fan. And back in Canada, it's like hard to find Pochiko merch. He's just sort of on that like B tier of Sanrio celebrity. But in Japan, he seemed actually quite popular. So I started seeing all this Pochiko stuff that I was reporting to her. This was like a very cute corner that just had a ton of Sanrio plushies. A lot of these characters, I don't even know who they are. There's Pochiko. Just jammed in here. I really like this effect of like plushy mosaic, I guess you could call it. And in the middle, I don't know who this is, Strawberry Boy. Unclear, but nice little display. At a certain point, a big crowd started forming around the escalator, and this really bubbly idol type came out and started telling people a whole bunch of rules about touching and crossing boundaries, and she was just kind of reciting them over and over, and then telling people to get excited, and telling people to look up the escalator. And it was weird because the escalator was still in like normal usage as just part of the mall's infrastructure. So like normal ass people were still coming up here and, you know, heading over to 3 Coins or whatever. This is a little discount boutique type shop. And yet there was still this almost paparazzi-esque crowd swarming at a respectful distance of the escalator. And eventually I realized, oh, like a Sanrio character is going to appear. This is what they're all excited for. And I think, you know, when these sorts of like mascot appearances happen in the West, It's like little kids that are excited, generally. And you might have some kind of diehard adult fans of the show. But here, it felt like the predominant attendee was like more a fan of just like mascot character photography. You can't really see in this picture, but some people had like really nice like DSLR setups. They were, lining up the shot, manual focus, lens zoom. And then this character appeared along with a blue-haired one. I kind of recognize these characters. I think these are like C-tier Sanrio celebrities, maybe even D-tier. So I wondered, like, maybe this crowd is so excited and so dead set on like documentation because this is like a rare appearance. Like a Hello Kitty mascot character showing up, whatever, everyday shit. But the twins, that's cause for alarm. So it was really interesting, this sort of cultural phenomenon, watching it play out, watching the excitement around this. But we didn't stay for the whole thing. We had kind of wrapped up our exploration of the store, so we headed out. They came over here, posed with the backdrop. I think there was maybe photo ops with them as well. Exploring around this area in Ginza, there was a Moomin shop. I'm a big Moomin fan. I love the original comics by Tarv Johansson or something like that. They just have this very whimsical, but also sort of mysterious and kind of almost melancholy vibe at times. Just very rich with imagination and character. So it makes a lot of sense that Moomin has really caught on in Japan. There was also a Moomin cartoon that was done by a Japanese studio. It was released in English and also Norwegian or Swedish or whatever Moomin it was originally from. Icelandic? I have no clue. But then it was also released in Japan because, they have basically an anime they've made, and why not release it to their native audience? And it went over really well, and I've always wanted to watch it. It seems really fun. So yeah, the Moomin store was good. I really, really liked these Moomin plates. It just harkens back to the original art so well. So vivid, so colorful. I think I would probably never actually use them as plates. But really lovely pieces of kind of interior design. I was tempted to get some, but, alas. Then we went for dinner. Oh, lunch. All of this before lunch. We went to a family restaurant, Gusto's. If you don't know, a family restaurant in Japan is something quite similar to like our Denny's or our Olive Garden or something like that. A fairly cheap place with often a fairly large menu where the food is going to come pretty fast. But the family restaurant in Japan also functions as a type of third space, one of many categories of third spaces in Japan. That is a place that isn't your home or your work, but you still are very warmly welcome to just hang out. And you'll see a lot of people in family restaurants just kind of bumming around, maybe studying for a test or playing a game with one another or just vibing and reading. And I don't know, I really like the atmosphere. We got the drink bar, which is a very exciting feature in a lot of Japanese restaurants. It's something that, again, is like, it's like a strictly better version of what we have here. Because here we have restaurants where you can get unlimited refills. You can drink as much Coca-Cola as you want. They'll just come by and keep filling it up every time you ask. But in Japan, they just cut out the middleman and you pay for the drink bar, and that just gives you access to a pop machine. And you just go over and fill up your cup whenever you like. And the reason we can't do that here is because inevitably people would cheat the system. They would try to go get free drinks from the drink bar without paying for it. And because of that, we all have to suffer. Even at places like McDonald's, they don't let you just fill up the cup anymore. They may meter it out for you because they can't handle the idea that maybe somebody is abusing this and costing them upwards of 12 cents. It's very, very frustrating. Because, like, it's not even that people would abuse it here, and that's the problem. It's that the companies can't handle the thought of people abusing it. It's not that abusing it would actually create some sort of, like, financial problem. It's just that the companies cannot tolerate even that slight possibility of loss, even if it was explained to them that that convenience would make a lot more people just pay for the drink bar access. Oh, it's so frustrating. Also, I think it would much more likely get messed up in the West. People would like make it dirty or screw with like the ice bucket or whatever. So there is some element of like people can't be trusted here, but the drink bar is great. I love it. I drank so much orange juice at this place. I got this cheese on the outside, cheese on the inside burger, where it's covered in cheese, but then it's also filled with cheese. It was fantastic. I also got an aji fry, which is just a little piece of fried mackerel, which I absolutely love and will order pretty much on every occasion. You can get it here in Canada too, but it's just a lot more expensive. So I tried to take advantage of, like, this was like 100 yen extra or something. It was crazy. Why would I not get it? It's less than $1. Gusto was like very, very automated. It was a technological marvel, the likes of which I had never seen in Japan before, in that you signed up for the wait list on your own. You were just called when your table was ready. There was a tablet at the table that you order from. And then when your order came, it was delivered by this adorable little robot. Wow. We went to the Muji flagship store in Ginza, which I was very excited for as a Muji fan. I took a picture of this directory, partially just to consult while we were there to find stuff, but just because I think it's exciting to see all the stuff they offer in this giant Muji in Japan. Muji in Japan is a lot more like food centric. In Canada, they have some packaged food like candy and like prepared powders and stuff, but in Japan they have a lot more like ready to eat stuff and a coffee, a diner. It's pretty good. I haven't actually had any of the Muji food, but it's pretty good insofar as it has a good vibe. No, that's not true. I've had some Muji candy and it was quite tasty. So we just had a few kind of like things to grab here on the level of like toiletries and stuff, but I mostly was excited about seeing kind of the Muji aesthetic taken to greater ambitions than and the stores in Canada, like the Atelier Muji, which we'll see pictures of, and the fact that they run a hotel out of this location. You can go stay in the Muji Hotel, which presumably has all Muji furnishings. And they have a whole furniture section, not just, you know, a few beanbags or examples of shelves and stuff, but like kind of a minor Muji IKEA. Oh, it was so exciting. They have appliances. In Japan, Muji makes appliances. Isn't that nuts? You can get a Muji fridge. I love it. I just thought this book looked cool. So they had a whole literature section upstairs that was like books kind of curated by them, that they chose to sell. I don't know if they actually have like an imprint and they're publishing them, or if they're just stocking a certain selection of like aesthetic books. The Muji Cafe also just had a ton of books available to read. But yeah, this one just really struck me. 100 fungus pictures done in like sumai looking artwork. I like that it was just in this nondescript cardboard box as well. But yeah, they just had a lot of neat stuff. I don't even know if these are for sale or if these were just in display. I was really curious what this was. The Democratic Forest, a 10-volume set, but a lot of like photography books and stuff. Things that just sort of represent the aesthetic. Here they had a little showroom showing off, I guess, what they consider to be their kind of next major design wave, which is mid-century Muji. Just kind of looking at this modern furniture design that was big in the 50s and 60s in America. You kind of associate it maybe with like, I don't know, the Eames lounge chair I think is maybe kind of iconic in this mode. But a lot of these kind of block colors, very rounded but blocky pieces. I don't know, I think it looks quite nice. So they just sort of had this gallery to see the vision. This was in the furniture area. I just think these are neat. These kind of like floor sitting sofas. I think that seems like a very comfy thing. And then we were at a Muji. I thought I would have taken more pictures of the cafe, dang. Oh well, whatever. here we are waiting for a train again. Many such cases. There's a Wendy's. I thought it was interesting that it was called Wendy's First Kitchen. I never really understood what that meant. But this was pretty close to our hotel. Soju for sale. I'm a big soju fan. Not that I drink really all that much. But if I'm going to a party and I'm planning on drinking, this is usually my number one choice on what to drink. Because it's super tasty and fairly strong, so you can efficiently get as fucked up as you'd like. It's so cheap in Japan, man. A bottle like this would be maybe 10 or 11 bucks in Canada, which isn't bad. But it's 300 frickin' yen in Japan. That's like $3 or less. Crazy. Absolutely crazy. It's just a nice little back alley, you know, always trying to just somehow capture the vibe of walking around. These were some pure gummies I got. This is one of my favorite candy brands ever, the Canro Pure. They're just super flavorful little sugar-encrusted gummies. This is the peach flavor, the soda peach flavor. Very, very good. This was a 50 yen off kind of fancy rice ball that I got from 7-Eleven, I think, with salmon roe and cod roe in it. Salmon roe especially is like pretty high class as an ingredient. And at least in Canada, anything that involves ikura, salmon roe, is going to run you like $5 and up. You're happy if you pay $5 for something with ikura in it. And here, this was typically 290 yen, 50 yen off. What a deal. And it was like packed full of salmon roe. You got a lot in there. Look. This isn't the best picture, but you can see the cod roe and the salmon roe. It was really in there. This was a unagi place that sold unagi don and other dishes with eel. I just really liked this little tapestry of people wrestling with the eels, and that the restaurant name just seems to be U from unagi. Had a real inviting but kind of intimidating aura. We didn't eat there. Nice little park. Nice old building we saw. I think at this point my mom had gone back to take a break at the hotel. My mom has a bit of mobility issues, and that if she walks for too long, her legs start getting really, really sore and kind of seizing up. So she had to take some breaks, and sometimes on those breaks I would go off on a little solo adventure. So this time I was heading from Ueno down to one of the great holy lands of otakuism, Akihabara. I've spent many, many, many hours in Akiba, and this trip was definitely like the least time spent in Akiba. But I still, of course, made my sojourns out there when possible. They had this display of Singer sewing machines, which I thought was neat. It was for some sort of crafting festival. Yeah, the handmade show, which would have been really cool to see, but unfortunately it had already passed by the time we got there. But yeah, I really need to see these super well-preserved old sewing machines. They're very, very impressive technology. This was advertising something that I saw driving around near Akiba. I couldn't really understand if it was like gambling or what. And I can't like enter the store money. Like, I don't know what it's talking about. And I took a picture of it to see if I could understand. But it was blasting music. This is not an uncommon appearance, these sorts of advertisement trucks in Japan that sometimes play videos, always use some sort of image, and just blast music. I find them very obnoxious. I imagine if I lived in Japan, I would, like, loathe them. But they're like a novelty as a tourist, so it's kind of interesting to kind of puzzle through what they might mean. Usually it's pretty obvious that it's some idol or something, but, like, what is this? What is this? This was a cool taiko group. This was a taiko store. I don't know if I took another picture of it, but it sold like taiko supplies, and they were advertising this really awesome visual kei looking taiko group called Mugen Infinity. Here we are in Mandarake. I love Mandarake. My mission this trip was to go to as many Mandarake as possible. They are the self-proclaimed rulers of space and time, and that is they sell old otaku merch of every shape and form. Here you can see a whole bunch of old Mickeys and Minnies, all sorts of different mascot characters, the different merch from those eras. Over here, some Dragon Ball stuff. Like, it's all over the map, and new things as well too. But just one of the most enjoyable experiences I think I've had in my entire life. That sounds like it rocketed into hyperbole, but it's just the only way I can describe it, is journeying into Mandarake and puzzling through everything, and sometimes finding amazing treasures and sometimes finding things that just defy my imagination, and I have no idea what they are or why people would pay money for them. So this was a Mandarake on the way to Akiba that I found that specializes in toys. Often they have some sort of specialty, and because they just sell used goods that are sold to the store, whatever each store winds up with is also just kind of like random. So you'll always get the possibility in almost any store of seeing any given thing, and then you can kind of seek out particular things by going to their specialty stores. So yeah, this was all vinyl figures and toys and stuff like that. I guess I didn't take any pictures inside. I realized on this trip, you will see a lot of pictures from inside stores, which used to be like a big no-no. You would almost always see pictures or signs in stores that said no pictures, no pictures. Here, I was so not used to it that I would still hit somebody working at the store with the "Sashin ga ii desu ka?" Is it okay to take a picture? But typically I got the okay, and what signs I did see around photography were often, just don't take pictures of the people working there or the other customers. They're okay with you taking pictures of the merch itself, the stuff that's on sale, the shelves, but they don't want you like vlogging in there and putting everybody else there on display, which is totally reasonable. And I think it's like before they just had a no tolerance policy, just no pictures at all to avoid that sort of thing. But because of this massive, unprecedented flood of tourists, and specifically influencer type tourists, there was probably a lot of them that were just flagrantly breaking the rules and videotaping themselves in these stores. And so now they've kind of like conceded, okay, like you can take pictures, like don't think we're adversarial to you, just follow these guidelines. And it probably has worked out better for them. Anyways, now we are heading into the heart of Akiba. This is a Tamishe Nations modeling store that I always see as kind of like a landmark. Same with, obviously, the JR Akiba Station. This is a character from Love Live. This is an Itasha, or pain car. That is a car that is super decked out in your waifu's decals and stuff. And this is it. The Holy Land of Akiba. Just everywhere you look are gigantic stores selling either anime merch, manga, other hobbies, other very niche hobbies at times, modeling things, modeling trains, or is some sort of other technology shop like a speaker store or a headphone store or whatever. Otakuism of all forms is celebrated and sold to you here in Akiba. Here is the Great Black Obelisk that is the main Mandarake in Akiba. It's like 8 floors. I love it. I thoroughly crawled through it. This is their big wall of Nendroids. I did not buy any Nendroids this trip. I think on my last trip I bought like 15. So that was a major difference. I wouldn't say that I'm like completely through collecting them. I do maybe get 1 or 2 a year. I got one as a birthday present from Waterflame, which was lovely. Shout out to Waterflame if you're watching this. I picked up the Bochi one from Bochi the Rock because I just love that series and I couldn't resist. But the main like fervor of Nendroid collecting has certainly diminished. Most of mine are in storage right now, actually. They're not even like on display anywhere, which is a shame. But I still like looking for them. I think just because this is like the series of figures I know best. So I can tell like which ones are rare, which ones I personally haven't seen, what are good deals, what are surprisingly expensive things. So it's just kind of like a lot of information I can kind of process and enjoy seeking out. So I'm always looking for the Nendroids. There's some interesting ones in here. Miyamori-san from Shirobako. Light. No, L. I mean, is this L? It looks like L. Whatever. The Disappearance Haruhi. I have this one. That was one of the first androids I got. I don't know. It's like a real trip down memory lane. And then a lot of like, wow, I didn't know they made an android of this character. This was a bunch of Miku figures. A big quest I was on was to find a particular Miku scale figure for a friend of mine. I told her the odds are low. And it kind of seems crazy because you see, if you want, like thousands and thousands of figures fairly trivially within Japan. You can just go to store after store that will have hundreds of figures. And you think, okay, so eventually I'll find the one I want. But not necessarily, because there are like hundreds of thousands of figures released. In terms of sheer statistics, given the total number of figures out there, the figure stores you're able to visit, even all the figure stores in Japan, are just like a drop in the bucket. They couldn't contain all the figures that there are. And especially like old scale figures of a popular character typically sell to someone who just keeps it. They don't circulate that much. And even when they do circulate, they might immediately be bought up by another such collector and then disappear from that pond of things cropping up in stores. So, you know, spoiler alert, I never did find it, but it was a fun quest and I enjoyed looking for it and, you know, hope sprang eternal. It's nice that Miku typically gets her own section like this, along with other Vocaloids, like there's Luca. So it's not like I had to crawl every single inch of the store. I would usually want to check out the Nendroids, check out the big scale fig section to see if it's just randomly there, and then I would look for the Mikus. And here are the Mikus. This was an Jammer Lammy figure. I just took a picture of it because I thought that was cool. You don't see merch of it very often. Here I am, concentrating on photography. Now I'm grinning. I think as I realized I could see my face so clearly. This is from outside Mandarake. The staircases are enclosed in this like black mesh, but they are outside. So this is just kind of a view of Akiba from an upper floor. Ooh, the Aikatsu complete soundtrack collection for a cool 30,000 yen. Not a bad deal. iCats is a series for little kids about being an idol, and even though it has no need to, the music is actually phenomenal. Like really, really interesting, almost like IDM-ish music with often very like sparse, emotive, non-conventional vocals over top of that. And then it can just totally switch gears and have like a really cheery, almost Denpa-esque tune. It's all over the map. It's phenomenal. I love iCats. I love the iCats soundtrack. If I was richer, I would have thrown that money down. Moomin box set. I just really like this art, plus a special edition one that seemed to come with some figures. Ooh, this is a display of the Bochi, the rock inflation factor. I did not see that much Bochi merch. It was kind of like a takeoff runaway hit that I don't think the studio was really prepared for in terms of merchandising. And whatever merch I did see was expensive as hell. So this is like a clear file folder, okay? This is like a pretty common type of merch that a series gets in Japan. It's one of the cheapest things to produce, so a lot of series get them. And all it is just kind of like a flimsy plastic file folder that you can slide stuff in. And it comes with a button as well. And typically you can get these for like a couple hundred yen, and they're often free in giveaways and stuff. And here it is selling for 4,400 yen. And it's like, wow, is this the price I will pay for anything Bochi while I'm here? The answer turned out to be very much yes. Even more marked up than that, the Oshi no Ko tax. But here, clearly you get a lot more stuff. There seems to be another book in there, and then a lot of little merch type things, so makes a bit more sense. But yeah, very, very popular series right now. I went to Book Off, or rather I went to Hobby Off and Hard Off, which are more specialty book offs. Book Off is like a used bookstore in Japan, a very common chain. You can find a lot of really cool stuff there. And then they have, a friend of mine and I were trying to remember the names of all of them. There's like book off, hard off, which is like computer hardware, musical instruments, anything physical that's like gear, audio equipment, speakers, stuff like that. There's hobby off, which is like figures and otaku stuff and merchandise. There's mode off, which is fashion, old clothes. There's sake off, which is bottles of sake, kind of rare collectible ones that maybe I don't think they're like opened. Oh, I had a few swigs of this and I didn't like it. Let me sell it to sake off. But if you got as a gift like a very vintage bottle of something and you're just not interested, you could sell it to sake off. And then there's like one more, and neither of us could think of what it was. But I think there's 6, yeah, in total. So yeah, hard off is cool, and I really, really like that their basement floor is just labeled junk. Junku corner, the junk corner. Within the junk corner, I saw these bins of AV cables and power supplies for the Nintendo Wii. And as a member of my local Project Plus scene, they're always trying to find cables for the Wiis. It's always an effort of like, hey, where's the cable for this setup? Oh man, we're missing a power cable, blah, blah, blah. So I was like, who wants me to buy a whole bunch of these cables? I didn't actually end up getting any. In the end, it was like, we do have them. It's just always like chaotic trying to find them all during setup. Ooh, I bought this candy. I haven't actually had it yet. That'll be in the look at the stuff I bought and let's try the candy I bought video. But it was labeled Mysterious Fruit Gummy, and here is the mysterious fruit. It looks like something out of the Codex Sephoranicus or whatever. Pretty interesting. Here I am, I think, heading back to Ueno. What was this playing? Oh, yeah, they're playing Aw Naw by Southern hip-hop legends Nappy Roots. Check that song out, Aw Naw. And the rock remix featuring POD. Phenomenal. I was so excited to hear them playing that. This was later. Still bumming around Akiba, I guess. Yeah, I haven't even left Akiba. Flood of people. This is heading back from Akiba, I think. There was Zach Bell set up in the train station. And I'm in the Discord server for somebody that scanlated most of Zach Bell, so I thought this was interesting. Very old series you don't hear about too much anymore. So neat to see it get this recognition. This is the Yodobashi Camera Akiba building. This is another one of those gigantic electronic stores that I talked about. It really is just huge. Like, every floor of this is just selling electronics. It's crazy. This was kind of like a back alley route I took. You can see here some waste processing happening that I thought was interesting. More just streets. This is heading back through Ueno. This is in... What's this place called? Maybe it'll say here. This is like a very famous shopping district. I thought maybe I could see like the neighborhood name or something. I can't remember what it's called, but it's a big shopping district heading up through Okachamachi Station and into Ueno. So it was very fun to go through. You can see over here the America House. It sells like weird kind of like army merch and stuff. Saw a lot of very strange things for sale in this area. But it's really fun to go at this time of day because they've got all these stalls open. So that's 6:30. All these stalls open selling food. It's just a very lively atmosphere. People eating out in the street. A store that had a whole bunch of interesting looking fish. I thought these were maybe puffer fish. They kind of look like it. Not quite. See, they're always going to show them puffed up. But when they're depuffed, they kind of look like this. They have this sort of like beak. So I thought maybe this was a fugu place, but I don't know. Fugu is pufferfish. I got these donuts to share with my mom on the way back. This was like a chocolate peanut one. I knew she really liked peanut donuts. I got a strawberry one. And these were creme brulee donuts. So they were filled with custard, and then the top had the torched sugar coating, so you like cracked through it. It was very satisfying. This is the next morning, May 4th. We went out for breakfast to this very nice little cafe that was near where we were staying. We both got toast. It was so nice and warm and fluffy, plus a nice cool peach tea at the start of what ended up being a very busy but wonderful day where we crammed in a lot of activities, but I think at just the perfect pace. This is just across the street looking at some buildings. You can see the shopping district that I walked through the night before in the distance here. Oh, this I had never seen in Japan before. I didn't get a chance to try it, but I was really excited. It's like a freshly squeezed orange juice machine. And it was like funny because I was thinking about, damn, Japan really has vending machines for everything. It's so convenient. It's so fun. But they don't have that thing I saw in Spain all the time, which was the freshly squeezed orange machine, where you could just get a cup of freshly squeezed orange juice, and it was delicious. And then later, like maybe that same day that I was thinking this, I saw this machine, and I was like, oh, okay. They just got everything then. Little back alley area. I really just like this sign. Pork place. Ruby. I guess that's the name of the restaurant. Since 1959. I thought that was so cool. Ameyoko. That's the shopping district. This was some ameyoko specialty dish. More shots of ameyoko. We were heading to a discount candy store that my mom had heard about. We checked out this game station. This was like the only arcade I went into the entire trip. Again, a major departure from previous trips where I would spend maybe like 10 hours total or more playing rhythm games in various arcades. Here we just went through one so I could show my mom what it was like. We toured around it. And it was great. But I didn't play anything. 0 arcade games played this entire trip. Crazy. What a departure. But yeah, I don't know. Other neat stuff. I like this sign. I like this big fish. Yeah, in the arcade they had some Suika merch. The viral sensation Suika game, which was like a real crossover hit between Japanese fans and Western fans. I feel like there ought to have been even more merch. I haven't seen any merch in the West, but in Japan they had quite a few little things. Not even quite a few, sorry. Like 2. They had 2 little sources of merch, and one of them was this claw game machine. Denji, little chainsaw buddy. Can't think of his name. Pochi? Something like that. Cute. A DDR machine. Again, I didn't play anything. There's ameyoko and Ueno. No, that's not Ueno. Ue-chan? I guess some sort of reference to Ueno. This is the character from Ueno. But 2 different shopping districts kind of meeting and Y-ing off at this location. I just like this kebab menu. Oh, they had shisha too. You very rarely see this in Japan. It's kind of exciting to see. I like this golf place with the golf ball wedged into it. These are some of the cool shirts I saw. I was showing my mom. I just love this Bagwood Super Saiyan shirt. Should have bought it, man. When am I ever gonna see something like this again? That's just so beast. Here's me. My mom took this, I guess. More shots of ameyoko. Here we are in the discount candy store. The prices are so low. Although I did end up seeing, I think, even cheaper prices at places like Don Quixote and stuff. But just comparing it to the price I would pay in North America is like, just makes me sad. Which is why I bought so much candy to take back. Saving myself money, a financially sound decision. Buying tons and tons of candy. Here we have the Arnott's Tim Tam. That's my last name, Arnott. So it's always exciting to see the Arnott's Tim Tam. I even had an Australian substitute teacher once that kept calling me Biscuits because Arnott's Biscuits are very popular in Australia. But it was neat. It made it all the way to Japan. The Arnott's Tim Tam. This was a bunch of Sunny Angels. This was in a gachapon place. Just like a store that just is all gachapon machines. They had all these Sunny Angels. I don't even think they were for sale. I think they were just showing off their collection in the store. I have a friend who really likes Sunny Angels, so I took a picture to show her. This was the other source of Suica merch, was the Suica Gachapon. I got a few of these to give to some of my Suica-obsessed friends. It's pretty fun. You get either kind of a collection of small fruit, or you can proc the big fruit. I assume the watermelon is like extra rare. I certainly didn't get one. It's very big. And then you can stack them up like you're playing the game. It's pretty sweet. I probably should have bought more. I kind of wish I had all of them now. But that'll be for the next Surugaya free shipping, maybe. This was a nice shrine in the middle of Ameyoko. Something that I absolutely love about just kind of the Japanese urban aesthetic is that shrines and kind of small, either like a full little temple like this or just a small shrine area are just around. You can be walking down a street that's just wall-to-wall stores and suddenly stumble upon something like this. It's just kind of profound. And you can say, oh yeah, there's like churches downtown in Toronto too, but they usually have like big lawns. You know, they're very like distinct and separate from the stuff around them. They usually have a parking lot, which is really the problem, is parking mandates. And they just don't have the kind of sense of like community integration, I think, that this has, where it occupies basically the same footprint as the store next to it and has somewhat of a camaraderie and this sort of like shared presence, this shared like dimensional presence. I don't know if I can express it that much. It's not like really that significant of a difference, I guess, than the prevalence of churches and stuff in cities. But it feels very different, just kind of the suddenness with which you can enter this area. This was another shrine we saw. This one is, you can see basically the whole shrine here. It's just on the street. They sell, I can't remember what these things are called, but little placards in which you can write messages and fortunes, and you can make a donation, ring the bell, you know, all that stuff. This is another location in Ameyoko, underneath the train tracks. Just something so cozy to me. I don't know why, about stuff that's located under the train tracks, just sort of nestled away. The feeling that people will be working there for decades perhaps, or be regulars in this restaurant, eating there weekly for decades, who knows, and just always hearing that rumbling of the train overhead every few minutes. You might think, oh, that's like torture, that's a psychological hell to hear that all the time, but for some reason it just kind of feels cozy to me. Because it's just this sort of link, this interconnectedness, that even though you're sort of tucked away down here enjoying a nice meal, you can hear, you can feel the rumblings of the going-ons of the world around you. It's kind of beautiful. I don't know if I'm expressing it well. Maybe it still sounds psychotic, but to me, there's a beauty. This was a little interior shopping area within the train tracks as well. A lot of discount clothing and stuff. This was a watch store. My mom wanted to buy a watch on this trip just so she wouldn't have to check her phone for the time all the time. You can't really see the one that she bought. It was like over here. But the lady working in the store was really nice. Helped her try it on. She got a pretty good deal on it too. I think it was like 1,500 yen or something. But yeah, it's nice. Again, you can see this kind of underground shopping area. This was the JP Pla Rail Stamp Rally, or JR, sorry. Every JR station had a stamp booth, and you could fill out like an official documentation thing, which would track all of your stamps. And if you got, you know, so many different station stamps, you could enter into some contest to win a prize. Or maybe you got some little trinkets automatically plus an entrance into the competition. Oh my gosh. I need to take a Tums. But yeah, it was really neat. My mom wasn't doing the official contest, but she just had a book that she was stamping them in. So it was always nice, you know, the excitement of going to a new station, not just for its environs, but because, hey, we could find a stamp here. Big Don Quixote. See the penguins. This is the Don Quixote mascot. We'll see more of it later, but Don Quixote is a great everything store in Japan that just sells a variety of weird products and all sorts of household necessities and snacks and stuff, all for very, very, very competitive prices. This is underneath the tracks in a different area. Now we're down near Shimbashi. Yeah. Yakitori, no. Yakidon? What? I don't know. But yeah. Yakiton. What is yakiton? Yeah, just so cozy. We ended up eating at a random little Chinese place. We had tried to go to a specific restaurant that I saw on Google Maps, but it was closed because it was still Golden Week. So we went to a random Chinese place instead, and it was very nice. I really liked it. I got pork and cabbage, which you see here. Then we took a little break in the park, had a drink. We observed there was a festival going on. Maybe not even a festival. Oh, no, I know what it was. We just saw a whole bunch of people in Happy, hanging out and having drinks and preparing for something. We didn't really know what it was. And then later... Oh, my mom took this. She just thought it was so neat that almost every stall has one of these little baby holders. And it is great. That's a real social boon, I think, to have the equipment for that so your kid can be somewhere safe and secure. Nice little... I took this upside down, but this is a spot where firemen can put in the hose to get water for the fire hose. Nice little area. Yeah, here we go. So they were doing the shrine lift thing as part of Golden Week festivities. This is where there's like a mobile shrine that's connected to these big boards, and then a group of able-bodied men. I say men not to be sexist, but just that's how it works. Usually people from the community, local store owners and stuff, will come together, hoist it up on their shoulders, and then walk around town, visiting different storefronts and stuff as a way of kind of blessing them and celebrating them, and just kind of a nice festive atmosphere follows it. Although from manga, I hear it's a real pain to carry the shrine. It really wears out your back and your shoulders and everything. So, you know, not without sacrifice. So yeah, that was neat to see. More Golden Week stuff. Again, it was a bit of an inconvenience, and I would have avoided it had I thought of it. But we did get to see some neat stuff because of it, too. Another shot of the shrine. This was something promoting... Oh, yeah. Shimbashi Station has this, like, crow mascot. And then there was also, like, Karasu Town or something that they refer to Shimbashi as. Karasu is crow. So there's some major association between Shimbashi and crows that I didn't quite understand, but it is what it is. Neat little model train thing set up for the kids. This was a little thing in Shimbashi Station celebrating like the history of the railway. Some big plaque here. This is like a super old car wheel thing, I guess. I don't know. Wasn't really sure what this was, but it was neat to see as we went through the station. And then we went on the... What's this line called? The Name Hotel line or something? Which goes way down around this awesome little bridge. It goes over the water down to Odaiba, which is one of the artificial islands in Tokyo. And then eventually to where we were heading, which is past Big Sight, over here, I think. Even further, over here. Over somewhere around here. Here we go. Team Lab Planets. This was our journey out to Team Lab, which you will see soon enough. But yeah, it's really cool. The train goes over the water. I was so excited. The big curve is really exciting too. Here we go, lots of shots of that. So we decided we would go part of the way, stop off in Odaiba near Diver City. Diver City is just like this gigantic complex of malls and little attractions in Tokyo. It's famous for where the life-size Gundam is. We didn't actually go see the life-size Gundam. We went kind of the other way, down to the water and stuff. But yeah. When we got there, there was this festival that I think was kind of centered around Cinco de Mayo, a Latin American festival. So that was pretty neat. We saw the mariachi band was performing, big dense crowd, selling all sorts of Latin American stuff. This is one of the attractions at Diver City. Is a big Statue of Liberty. Not as big as the real Statue of Liberty, obviously, but just neat little tourist landmark. Aqua City, odaiba. This was the band. Oh, this is a video. So it was fun. Statue of Liberty again. We kind of slowly made our way down this boardwalk towards the beach. Here you can see this thing. This is pretty famous. I don't know what it is, but you see it a lot in like shots of this area of Japan. Big boardwalk area down to the beach. And then it happened to be that they were doing something really cool at the beach. They were having this like beach sports festival where they were running all sorts of little mini tournaments for various beach games. This is, I don't know what this is. Oh, this is one that my mom did the magic eraser. I remember this. We were working on this together, trying to get her pixel to erase somebody that had walked into her shot at the last second. And it worked okay. You can definitely tell like something has happened, but maybe only if I pointed it out. So yeah, this is the beach sports area. You can see all these tents and stuff set up. Japan Beach Games Festival. And this was pretty cool. The first thing we saw was slacklining. It was all like little kids doing slacklining. I don't know if it was just like the youth division, or if this is just kind of like a youth-oriented sport in Japan or something. But slacklining is crazy. The gymnasts that go into this stuff can get so amazing, and even these little kids were doing outrageous things. Like, look at that flip. I think my mom took some video too. I don't know if she uploaded her videos to this album or not. But it's crazy. So that was neat. Oh, here's one my mom took. Yeah, very impressive. I've known some people that do slacklining, like university student friends back when I was in university. But they didn't even do this sort of like acrobatic stuff on it too much. It was more about using it as like a core workout that you can balance in different positions and just kind of hold it. But it's neat. Look at that. How is this little kid doing that? Then we saw this beach volleyball tournament. We were just looking at the bracket. I was like, yo, Team White People! Let's go Team White People! This is the Japan Beach Volleyball Federation. They were playing this sport here, which I associate with like New Year's. There's like this kind of ancient Japanese racket game where you just bat the ball around with no net or anything. And they play it on New Year's. And this is knowledge that I'm getting exclusively from manga. But I think this is the same thing. I don't know. I don't know about this like beach version. I don't know like what the competition is, because my understanding at New Year's it's just sort of like a silly activity that you do. And there's not really even like a game component. So I didn't really understand this one. This I was super hyped about. Beach sumo! Here's a little info on beach sumo. It's basically normal sumo, but you play it at the beach, as far as I can tell. We didn't get to see any matches, unfortunately. It looked like they were done for the day. But the beach sumo guys were taking pictures with anybody who wanted to. And then they were, even with the little kids, doing like play matches and stuff, which was really fun. There I was encouraging the kid in Japanese. But is that fun? I don't know. I saw a couple of the kids versus sumo guys matches. There was a couple that went like longer. That it's not even that they would fight back. They would let the kid push them and then they'd pick up the kid, walk into the middle, set the kid back down and fight again. So yeah, that was pretty fun. And then of course I got my picture taken with the beach sumo guys. This was just more pavilions and stuff. So there's more random shots around Odaiba. There's Big Sight, the home of Comiket, a place that I have spent many, many hours on previous trips. It was neat to kind of see it again and not feel that overwhelming sense of dread and panic that I'm about to spend the next like 12 hours there frantically buying things. No, I love Comiket so much, but it is also like an ordeal. It is like I always described it as like in an MMO it would be like the super late game or even post game dungeon that if you go to like Anime North or normal anime stores or even places in Akiba, those are like your low level mid game dungeons. And this is like where the true players are. This is like true gamer only territory. But yeah, there it goes, Big Sight. This was in the elevator down to teamlabs. So teamlabs is something that I hadn't even heard about before this trip, but it was recommended to me by several people as something to do in Tokyo, and we looked into it and it seemed pretty cool, and I think my mom had seen it on Instagram and stuff too. As you'll see, it's very, very Instagrammable. We didn't really know what to expect. I deliberately didn't really look up almost anything about it. All I knew was it was some sort of interactive art display thing. I thought maybe it would be sort of like Meow Wolf, which I had gone to in Denver and really, really enjoyed. And in some sense it is, but in another sense it was really like nothing else I'd ever experienced. We went in, you take your shoes off and your socks off. You leave them in a locker along with everything else, like besides your phone. And these are really crappy pictures, but at the start it's just dark and you're kind of stumbling through. And the first kind of exhibit is just this long, gentle slope with water running down. So you're walking uphill through water, which is kind of an interesting sensory experience. And there's this waterfall at the end that's all lit up. But I was thinking mostly of like my poor mother, who's, you know, not that she was like struggling, but I'm sure it's not the easiest thing. And for other people with mobility issues, I'm sure it's not the easiest thing. And then the next room, which I don't probably think I'd have any pictures of either, was also very dark. And it was just like big pillowy lumps on the floor. And this was also to dry your feet off after the first exhibit. Totally dark, and all the walls are padded and rounded and stuff too. And my mom had a really hard time getting through it. And I was starting to think, like, what the hell is this? I wasn't super impressed so far. You know, the sensation of going around on all the padded stuff was kind of fun, and you could kind of bounce around on it, which was neat. But I was like, okay, whatever. And then you go through this next dark hallway, and I'm like, some pretty cool is gonna have to happen for this to feel worth it, besides just trapezing you. And then you go into this room. And this room was fucking crazy. So it's like, the floor is all mirror, which is partially why they make you first do a water thing and then do a foot drying thing, is so that you can go in here and your feet won't tarnish the mirror floor. And then everywhere else you look is just these long strings, columns of lights. And it's really, really hard to capture this in photo or video. All of the walls are mirrored too, but it's a fairly big room, so you don't even like kind of make it to the walls very easily. The ceiling is mirrored as well. And then these lights are just everywhere. And then in sync with the music, different effects will go through the light. And beforehand, we were encouraged to download an app that would tell you about different pieces and artwork and what their intent was, but was also interactive at this point, that you could send in requests for different effects of the light. It's really, really hard to capture how cool this was in pictures. It sort of felt like Yayoi Kusawa sensei's Infinity Rooms. In some sense, in a kind of a cynical sense, I could say that this is kind of a more commercialized, Instagrammable, consumable, paid experience version of one of her Infinity Rooms. But it was also just really, really cool. So I don't think I'm going to be that cynical about it. But it really was like nothing else. Like, I feel like this just really does not capture at all what it was like being in there. But it was truly awe-inspiring and mesmerizing. And I felt like I could have spent hours just kind of watching the different patterns and going to different places in the room. But like, yeah, I don't know. It was like nothing else. So there's kind of a pathway where it's higher up, and then you can just kind of look into the walls where it just goes on seemingly forever because of the mirrors and what have you. Crazy. This was like kind of a rainfall type pattern. It really screws the hell out of the video compression. But yeah, this was absolutely nuts. I don't know, man. I hope this can convey even slightly how cool this one was. This was definitely my favorite of all the teamlabs exhibits we saw. It was so cool. Sometimes it would go almost totally dark like that with just a few glittering around. Oh, it was so nuts. And yet somewhat of a subtle effect. Then there was kind of a more open area near the end. Took a picture of myself in the ceiling. Took a picture of myself on the floor. This one, I can't even really tell what I'm filming. Oh, geez, I wasn't even... Alright, this makes it look a little nicer. I didn't realize that that was even an option. I should go back and try to see, like, maybe this one or something. Okay, now it's in 1080p. Yeah, that looks quite a bit better. Shoot. I didn't realize the videos were so low res by default in the playback. Oh, it was so cool. I don't know. Does this come across as impressive in the videos? Because, like, at this point, I'm just really able to picture what it was like being in there, and I was so awestruck. But I don't know if any of that's coming through in the videos and pictures and stuff. Anyways, this was this room. Then we go down another hallway, and you start wading into deeper and deeper water. It's this kind of milky, creamy colored water, and then you go into this room where all sorts of lights are being projected everywhere. Lights and fishes and stuff, and as people make ripples, the light is distorted and kind of bounces around and stuff. This one was very nice, and the water felt very pleasant to wade around in. I didn't like it as much as the first room. Obviously, first room went absolutely crazy, but this is a cool one too. This is a video, I guess, but it's not loading. Oh, here we go. Oh, I'm trying to take a selfie video, but you cannot see my face really at all. But yeah, it was neat. It had kind of a neat sort of dance party vibe. While also being kind of serene and contemplative. And a lot of the things projected are little fishes and stuff. I like that. Really feels like the fishes are swimming around with you. Then there was this room with big, soft balls. This, I think, was one of the most Instagrammable rooms. I saw so many people doing photo ops and selfies and stuff in here. I think I could have spent more time fiddling with my camera's settings to really capture how nice the lighting felt in here. Like, oh, it looks red, but it had this like kind of warmth in person that I think is kind of hard to capture in film. And they're all changing colors too. How it worked is if you squeezed the ball, which you were allowed to do, you could push it and squeeze it and stuff, and some of them moved around as well, that would start it changing colors, and then that would propagate the new color to all the balls around it, so the light just kind of smoothly shifts and flows around the room. This one was really cool too. Sometimes it got very bright. Again, mirrored floor, clean feet. Yeah, this gives a pretty good sense of what it was like. But a really nice, calming, soothing one. Here again, taking a picture of this through the ceiling. And the sound resonated with people making contact and stuff too. That would trigger rippling sound effects and stuff. Very nice, very cute. You can really see all the people with the photo ops and stuff. Here we are. I figured since everybody's doing it, we should do it. Now it's green, twas blue, now it's white-ish. And then this one was really cool. It was like a big dome where the video is being projected everywhere on the dome. So everywhere you looked up to the ceiling was just this never-ending procedurally generated video of flowers floating through space. And you were encouraged to just lay down on the floor and look up and watch it. And it really was pretty mesmerizing and awe-inspiring, and with a really cool soundtrack too. You really felt a sense of space. Seeing these things fly by, there was like a real depth and 3D-ness to it. I don't know why this is... I guess I'm trying to take a selfie video or something again. But yeah, really neat. Of course, there are some anomalies, like you can see certain access points or where the projector is, but once you're there and you're really taking it in, you start to not see those things. They just kind of fall by the side. This one was kind of underwhelming because we had to go to all the trouble of getting these like slides that we put on to go outside briefly to see these like reflecting beans that are situated on little mounds and stuff. I kind of like it in theory, but it was just such a pain to distribute all of these slides and then to take them all back just to go in here for like 30 seconds. I think this one is more interesting at night because they start shining lights that start refracting in all sorts of interesting ways. But this is one where I think Yoei-sensei would have done a better job infinity rooming it, maybe. There's my mom in the reflection. But yeah, pretty cool. They look neat, these beans. There's me. Odd expression on my face. This is also the only one that felt kind of like scuffed because it's outside. And like, sure, yeah, you know, you can't control for the elements and stuff, but everything else had just been so immaculate and taken care of and such that it felt weird to see, you know, like blemishes on the mirrors and dirtiness and what have you. This was the last major one. It was like a hanging garden of real plants that you kind of crawled in underneath and then it kind of lowered around you. And this one we did in like shifts. Like a group of us went in, had this experience, and then crawled out, and another group went in. I think just because it's like real plants and they're very fragile and delicate, they didn't want people to have, you know, too much unrestrictedness, could end up damaging the plants or whatever. It was pretty neat. Not the craziest one. The fact that it was real plants is cool. And of course, the mirrored ceiling, mirrored floor feeling creates this nice kind of like, almost looks like a 3D eye, magic eye type thing going on there. But I don't know. Conceptually very cool. I think this one is almost like it looks cooler in the photos than it did in real life. It's the opposite of some of the other ones. But I really like how these photos turned out. It feels like, again, like a magic eye thing instead of reality. You're panning around, you can hear, they always had these kind of ambient pieces as soundtracks. There I am. There's these three guys in front of us that I thought were very interesting presence at teamlabs. But, you know, I'm glad they were enjoying themselves. They just didn't seem like the type to go in on this. You can see all the plants. They're grown using certain kinds of hydroponic technology or whatever, such that they're actually alive and growing and putting down roots in midair using these kind of like floating soil deposits or something. I don't know. It's pretty neat. Orchids. I like orchids. Very cool, very cool. This one's very blurry for some reason. I don't know. Neat effect. Took a lot of pictures in here. I'm glad I did. I think it really looks cool in pictures. It's like hard to know what you're looking at, which is cool. More flowers. Okay, so that was it for the main teamlabs area, like what you get for your ticket. Overall, I thought it was very cool. At the beginning, I was kind of skeptical. I thought, oh, it's just a bunch of stuff that's annoying to walk through. But starting with the kind of spacey light show room, I started being really wowed. And then I kind of got bought into it and really enjoyed it. Definitely check it out if you're in Tokyo. There's actually another one in Tokyo as well, teamlabs Borderless, that I do want to check out next time. And then they have exhibits in a few other countries as well. I think there's like one in Singapore and stuff. I don't think there's any in North America, but I might be wrong. Maybe there's one in like New York or something. Yeah, I was a fan. I'm definitely going to seek them out in the future. Very, very different than Meow Wolf, which was like my only point of reference. I'm not sure which one I like better. If it even makes sense to compare them. I guess only insofar as they're like kind of ticketed art experiences that you can plop yourself into. But yeah, big fans of both of them. So this is outside. This is just another funny art project, the Endless Bench. And this was the Tower of Fire. It was like an interactive thing where if you downloaded an app, you could control this like animated flame happening. And then there was something too where you could pass the fire onto your phone and then like light a torch between other people using the app, which I thought was pretty cool in concept, but I was too lazy to check out in practice. And then here we go. This was just a fun little booth outside. I liked that they had various games of chance. Rock, paper, scissors challenge. If you win, you get a discount. If not, you got to pay extra, stuff like that. Silly, silly. Gummy bear. My mom took this one. Here it is from the train station. The teamlabs place. More shots of Koto City area. Then we took the train back. Some interesting buildings. Here's a shot of it going over the water. I don't know why it's so exciting for me that it goes over the water, but it is. We just happened to get out in Takeshiba. We were on our way to this observation deck building, and we saw this big clock designed by Miyazaki. It's a train going by. This is a picture I took by accident. Big tall building. This one's like legitimately a huge building, but you'll notice most of the skyscrapers are not this big. Other stuff. Yeah, so this is designed by Miyazaki. And a few times a day, it does this gigantic animatronic performance thing where everything starts moving around and stuff pops out. And unfortunately, the timing did not work out for us to watch it. We would have to just sit around here for like an hour or more. Just too bad. But I meant to watch a video maybe on YouTube and see what happens. And I forgot to do that until now. So I'm glad I reminded myself of that, and I will later. But yeah, pretty cool. I don't know. It captures elements of Miyazaki that we don't maybe associate with him as strongly, but kind of harken back to some of his kind of earlier works like Castle in the Sky. I guess Howl's Moving Castle is a later work that kind of features these motifs. Nausicaa as well. Just sort of a fascination of mechanical design. You could even call it steampunk, although I would hesitate to do so. Stuff that kind of is like a very convoluted but intricate and functional way of performing physical tasks. So yeah, it was neat. Happy to just randomly stumble across it. Here's some info on it. Yeah, these are the performance times. So it's like fairly frequent, but we were at 5:30, so I think the next one wasn't until 7 maybe. Yeah. Oh, there was one at 6. I guess we could have waited till that, but we had stuff to do. We started heading off to this government building. Here's the stamp station for one of the JR stamps. Or no, this isn't even JR. This is the toy. This is the subway stamps. Oh, whatever. Please have the stamp for memory at Shiodome. Very good. Here you can see my mom's book, collecting her stamps. Monster Energy, becoming very common in Japan, much more than on previous trips. I started seeing Monster as like an energy drink. Japan has always been very big into energy drinks. You see them in convenience stores all the time, but it seems like only recently has Monster as a brand kind of started to take a foothold. This is the big government building where, for free, you can go up to the top observation deck and look out upon Tokyo, which my mom learned about on Instagram. This is like a little kind of tourist information store within the government building. They got a lot of pamphlets on various tourist opportunities and stuff. One of these maps, a classic. We represented Team Canada, which now I can't find. Here we go. No, that's not us. Where the heck is Canada? Well, anyways, we found it at the time. Maybe it's down in this corner that got cropped off. This I thought was neat. Anime fans around the world have chosen 88 Japanese anime spots they'd like to visit, and this place is among them. The government building. I don't know what anime it appears in. That doesn't say. There's a whole anime tourism association to help you make these pilgrimages. They had a flyer. I'll show off the flyer in the Stuff I Got video. But I like this initiative. I don't know. You always hear about people kind of making unwanted pilgrimages to places like the school that K-On! Was modeled after, or the bar that Boshi the Rock was modeled after, and causing a huge disturbance, both Japanese people and foreign fans. So this is one where it's like, well, hey, you can go to these locations, but why not go to the ones that are actually tourist destinations and are equipped to accommodate such fandom, and not just like a random actual school that's being used as a school. Everybody out here was gathered for a big audio-visual performance thing that I will show you later, because we got to catch some of it. This was just more stuff within the building. It skips. We had to wait in a long line. This place was very, very popular. Understandably, because I think of all the super tall observatories in Japan, this is the only free one. Shinjuku Sky and Skytree, I think you have to pay to go up to the observation decks. But here we are, and here is Tokyo. I guess it's probably a worse observation deck for taking pictures than Shinjuku Sky or than Skytree, because there's like a lot of glare. And I don't know if there's any way to avoid just getting reflections in the pictures. But hopefully these turned out okay. Here's a nice clear one. My mom took this one. How'd she do it? You can still see a bit of reflection, but it's nice. This is immediately below the crowd here preparing to watch the other big thing that happens at this building. Nice shots of the park and stuff. Here I am trying to take selfie. My mom took way better pictures here than me. I'm glad she was taking pictures too. Mine are all like blurry and stuff. Okay, I took this one. This one turned out pretty good. Nice, nice. And it's like a full 362, so why is... This one turned out so well, and then this one so poorly. What's the difference? But yeah, you can really see Tokyo just goes on forever. It is so unfathomably huge that just stretching out to the horizon, every which way you look, is just more Tokyo, more buildings. It's amazing. I'm sure for some people that sounds nightmarish. I'm sure there's some people that is like the least appealing place in the world to live or even visit. But for me, it's the exact opposite. I am such an urbanite. The idea of a city that just stretches on forever is so comforting to me. I feel like a coziness being deep within it. Now, this was very exciting. We timed it so well just to be able to see this. We thought we would be able to get up here at sunset, basically. But that was very naive. The line was a lot longer than that. So we got here kind of at dusk, I guess I would say. And had we got here really any later, though, I don't think we'd be able to make out the horizon like this. And it's wonderful that we did, because we can see Fuji-san, Mount Fuji. And it's the only time this entire trip that we saw Mount Fuji. Both times we passed it on the Shinkansen, the weather was not good enough and it was cloudy, or we didn't time seeing it exactly because we couldn't tell what it was with all the clouds. And very unfortunate, but here I think is a very beautiful shot of it, even though this is reflections everywhere. But so cool to just see it on the horizon, towering over this massive, massive city. Fuji-san, so beautiful. More selfie. This one turned out okay, but the background is such a blur. This was, Google suggested this little collage of photos that I took today. I thought it was cute. Fuji-san. This one turned out well. Ah, because my mom took it. How did she do it? This one looks great. This is such a great picture. Dang. Wow. But yeah, just look at that. Look at all of those people. Think about all the restaurants out there. Wow. You could never eat at them all. That's amazing. Here we see... I think this is the park that has the Imperial Palace and stuff. And then they had a piano up here. I don't know, maybe they have like recitals. The observation area was really nice too. Lots of benches and places to relax and a little cafe in the middle. Here you go. Big gift shop. The gift shop had some nice stuff. I can't remember if we got anything there or not. Maybe some postcards. Darumas. They had all sorts of kind of regional darumas. And other fun things like Santa Daruma. Yeah, I don't know. That'd be a neat souvenir. I like this one a lot. The tattoo Daruma. Looks so cool. Next to a little bonsai. Ah, yeah. So then we had heard about this light show where they projected onto the side of this gigantic government building. I think it's the largest such projection light show in the world. That was what everybody was bustling up for and occupying that entire little plaza to watch. They do it like twice a night, but I imagine all of them are filled up like this. And it was really, really cool, but we did not have anywhere good to see it. Obviously, all of the good seats were taken, but even the standing room was such that there was always like obstructions and stuff. Like here, there's a big pillar. So we only watched it for, I don't know, a few minutes. But it seemed really neat. Again, it's like very hard to capture what it felt like seeing it in person on video. But you can see the teeny tiny little people here. It was just huge. This was a little art thing at the station. After this, we were headed for dinner. And here we go. This was a bit of an ordeal. We wanted to go to conveyor belt sushi. I figured we should do that early in the trip so that my mom could try a whole bunch of different things and see what she liked and see what we should seek out in the rest of the trip. Conveyor belt sushi, I'm sure you've seen before in like movies or something. It's where sushi is just kind of going by your table and you grab it and you just pay for all the plates you take, and it's usually pretty cheap as far as sushi goes. The Sushiro place had a lot of buzz, mostly around its insane feature set and technology, which we'll see. On Google Maps, it told me, and I believed it, that there would be a 15-minute wait, and this was bullshit. It was more like an hour and 15 minutes. But regardless, we went in, and oh man, this was maybe one of my best meals I've had in my life at Sushiro. It's just like, I've had better sushi. I went to like an omakase sushi place last time I was in Japan, which was like 200 bucks, 20,000 yen-ish per person. So, you know, it better be good. And it was just a phenomenal meal. Maybe the best meal I've had in my life. I just was almost moved to tears. But the quality of the fish at this conveyor belt sushi place was so much higher than I anticipated. And I think it's just because I've had so much sushi back in Canada since then, and my bar for even good sushi has been lowered so low. Like, I've had some of the best sushi in Toronto, and it's really, really good, and in some ways it's way better than conveyor belt sushi. But just in the sheer quality of fish, it's like you can't compete. It's Japan. The fish is right there. They're surrounded by ocean. It's not a fair fight. And then the variety was so crazy. I tried like 8 things that I'd never had before in this meal. Here we can see hotate, I think. Raw salmon, or raw scallop. Some mackerel. This is like seared salmon. This was prosciutto, onion, and mayonnaise. This was uni. You could just get uni. I think this was like 200, 300 yen, something like that. Just a nice glob of uni. Oh my god. It was so cool. And then it had, the way you ordered was on this gigantic 2-person touchscreen where we could each be using it at the same time and making orders in parallel. For every 5 plates you ordered, you got to play this little mini game. I say play, all you do is choose your character and then it's random. But it's I don't know, it's fun, and then if you win, you get a little prize that gets delivered to you. There's the uni again. Oh my god, it's so good. I also got an apple juice that was really tasty. Here's so much stuff. I don't even know where to begin. Some sweet shrimp, some tuna, some ikura. This ikura was like 120 yen. It doesn't make sense. I mean, to be fair, that was like a deal here that they were advertising. But like, my god. This I don't even remember what it was, but I remember it being really tasty. This was another mini game, I think. Will he catch the squid? I don't know why the videos keep kind of freezing and lagging. Wow. Oh, we lost. I don't remember what. Oh, this was Iberia pork, like really nice, high quality pork. Amazing. So yeah, here's a shot of the menu interface, and then there was like a virtual one going past, so you could still have that kind of random opportunist feeling of like, oh hey, I'll get that as it's going past, and then I think it could show up like instantly. There wasn't like an actual conveyor belt of stuff going continuously past, unlike other places I've been to. But yeah, you can see the virtual conveyor belt in action. More uni. How could I not? This was, I think, a type of whelk, which I'd never had before. Again, just so many things on the menu that I'd like never had or sometimes never even seen before that I was just chowing down. This is some washi tape we won from one of the mini games. Crab. Here's another mini game. And oh, we lose. Green tea. Oh no. More plates piling up. More ikura. More aji. Some shrimp tempura. Tuna. Man, I started feeling so sad. Such genuine despair when I realized that I was getting full and that I wouldn't be able to keep trying new things. And I don't think I've ever felt that at a meal. Like, if I go to all you can eat, of course I want to get my money's worth. And this wasn't even all you can eat. So, you know, even putting that aside, it's like, I want to get my money's worth, but when I start getting full, I don't like fight it. I just sort of embrace the fact that I'm full. And it's more like a challenge of, can I eat all the stuff that I ordered? Or, you know, is that going to be a problem? But just the feeling of like loss that I won't be able to order more started hitting me so deeply. This was like prosciutto and mozzarella and basil. Unreal. An unreal variety of stuff. This, I don't even remember. Oh man. It's overwhelming. Oh, here I think I go through the menu. Look at that. 100 yen for ikura. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Unreal. Never before have I seen ikura that cheap. Oh man. Look. I didn't even get like otoro and stuff. I was too full. But that's so cheap for otoro. That's insane. Look at all this. Look at the combos you can get. Okay, and then I think is like, yeah, this is like whitefish and stuff, herring, mackerel. Look at that, whelk, horse clam, yukohei, conger eel. Oops. Crazy. It's just unreal amount of opportunities. So yeah, these are the typical plate prices, and then there's like special plates that cost even more or whatever. Look at these. What is this? Crab butter? I think it's like the organs and stuff of crab, which I really like. But I didn't even try this. My stack of plates. Could have eaten more. Should have eaten more. Next time. And then on our way back, found another stamp in Shinjuku. Miffy. We got on a train that happened to have a little kids Miffy area. We're big Miffy fans here. So cute. And I don't know. At first I was planning on just marathoning through all 2,409 pictures in a video that at this rate will take like 4 hours or more. No, definitely more. Because we just finished May 4th, and I was there until May 15th. So we're not even a third of the way through, and we're 2 hours in. Or almost 2 hours in. Oh, I just took a picture of this because I didn't know this was in Japan, this gym. So I think I'm going to change plans. This was all the candy I bought at the discount candy store. Teamlabs flyer. Yeah, let's change plans here. We'll get to the 5th, and then I'm actually going to just record several videos. Hopefully they'll come out pretty quickly because, you know, I really want to capture my feelings right after the trip, right around the trip. But, you know, we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes. That's the Keats to YouTube promise, is that we will see how it goes. And here we go, May 5th, Itasha. A beautiful day. Clear blue skies. And that'll be it for now then, yeah. I think that's too psychotic to try to... Look at that. Look how much of the scroll bar we've covered. That was too ambitious. So yeah, we'll call it here, and then, you know, maybe this will be in chunks of 3 or something. Or like 3 chunks, that is. So look forward to part 2 of my Japan adventures in 2024. Goodbye.